Hello, today on Encore, a tour around some of Paris's must-see summer exhibitions, starting with a show from a renowned Franco-Iranian photographer whose work has taken him to more than 100 countries as a witness to the conflicts and catastrophes of our time. Hello to Reza.
Thank you for having me here.
Welcome to the show. It's a pleasure to have you. Now, you've teamed up with France's most renowned political satire cartoonist, Plantu, for an exhibition at Paris's Musée de l'Homme. Describe the show.
Well, I mean, as you said, Plantu, Jean Plantu is probably one of the best in the world after the political satirics and the cartoonists. And we have been looking to each other's works over the years. So now this is more than 100 works that we started working together. My photograph and his cartoons that were similar, telling the same story, one by satire and the cartoon, and another one with photography. That's what I was doing all around, traveling all around the world and the wars and conflict. So putting this together, it creates a new way, a new image of the looking to the humanity, looking to the stories, and that's why it's in itself, it's an innovation. It's a new way of looking to the stories.
It certainly looks unique. Let's take a little look, and hear from some people who've visited the exhibition.
I've always liked the work of Plantu. I thought it was a really good idea to pair him with a photographer who produces works in the same vein.
The juxtaposition between the illustrations and photos are just wonderful. I was particularly drawn to this image of Africa. Plantu saw in Reza's photo the African continent and underlined it in a humorous fashion. This humor we find throughout the exhibition.
I like the one with the man eating a burger, and next to him we see a woman with rice. It really shows the difference in comfort levels between continents.
So you cover lots of different themes. Talk to us a little bit there about the work mentioned by the young woman at the end of that clip, and the work about the burger, showing the burger.
Traveling the world, it brings me to be in touch with the other part of the world, the humanity that is suffering, the humanity that is on the war, the humanity that is in the conflict. And it's almost more than 75% of the humanity in this situation. So as a witness, it's my duty, it's my responsibility to bring to this part of the world, to Europe, to Western world, to show how the other people living. Because creating empathy, it's what I'm trying to do, bring the people together. I try to create a bridge by doing these works between two different world, actually, two different nations, two different culture, creating the bridges and not the walls. That's exactly what we're trying to do with our photography, with our cartoons, or putting together all together, because we are very optimistic about the future of the humanity. Personally, I believe that humanity will be safe and will be on a good way.
Well, it's very refreshing. It's very refreshing to hear that.
Unbelievable.
As a photojournalist, you have been at the forefront of world news for 3 decades. Tell us about one experience that has really marked you, that's really touched you. I mean, there's a lot to choose from.
I mean, being in the war, every time for me seeing someone suffering, every time I see a child crying, every time I see a dead person, for me it's like the first times I see this. It's always touch my heart and my soul very deeply, and I always have them with me. One of the scenes which I never forget, it was during the siege of the Sarajevo, when you had hundreds of the snipers all around the city and shooting everybody, and so dangerous even to move out. And one day I saw a little girl on the street, on the around the wall, and I was so astonished to see. I went close to her, and I saw she had some dolls around her, and I said, "What are you doing here? Dangerous." And she said, "I'm selling my dolls because my grandmother is so hungry. He hasn't eaten for 4 days. And I want to sell my dolls to make some money to buy bread. And this is when the snipers shooting everybody that moving in the city. This is part of the things that I can see in the worst situation of the humanity. And this little girl, she showed me the incredible humanity, that exists in the humans. This little girl that in this situation, in danger, she's thinking of her grandmother, and she's ready to pass her dolls, which is the best things for girls. That's why I believe in the future of the humanity.
Yeah, well, it's very touching to hear you speaking, because you've seen so many things and you remain so optimistic. I mean, recent months we've been watching the uprisings in Iran. How has that been for you as an Iranian living here in France, watching that?
Iran is the biggest prison in the world, actually. It's the whole Iran is a prison, and the prisoner is the Iranian nation, Iranian people. The prison guards are the revolutionary guards, and the head of the prison is called Ayatollah Khamenei. He's or Ibrahim Raisi. They are all criminal. They are all that have a list of the hundreds of thousands of people that they have killed, and they're still killing. But why I'm optimistic about the future of Iran, because this is the last generation of the Iranian that believe in the Islamic Republic. This is the last generation of the Iranian that will accept anymore having religious and the government together. This is the end of it. The Iran will never ever will accept giving any job, any works to the religious people. It's gone. The same way that in Europe happened, that state and religion were separated. And it's happening by the woman. This is the first revolution in the history done by the woman. Not only Iran, look in Afghanistan, in the same things against Taliban. Who are the people on the street against Taliban? Are the Afghan women. So it's happening again in an incredible way. We had women in Sudan revolution. We had women in Lebanon that were fighting. In many of these countries, that the women, they were oppressed by the Islamic laws, by Islamic rules. Now they are the one up front that fighting is. And that's why it's very important for us, for everybody that believe in the democracy, that believe in the freedom. Wherever we are, we have to support this revolution. It is the revolution that is going to change the whole world, because when the woman will take power, there will be no war. I believe in it.
Okay, Reza, pleasure to have you on the show. Thank you so much for being here. Your exhibition with Plantu, Regard Croisé, is on until the 31st of December. There's also a book with the same name available and published by Gallimard. Next, street art and graffiti are in the spotlight in a new exhibition at Paris's Palais de Tokyo. Visitors will be able to discover the works of some 60 international artists from the 1960s to the present day. It's an opportunity to discover the relationship between graffiti with the contemporary art. Jonathan Walsh sent this report.
In
2012, I inaugurated the Lascaux project at the Palais de Tokyo. Along with around 100 graffiti artists, we took over ventilation ducts, smoke extractors, storage space. This expo, La Morsure des Termites, or The Bite of the Termites, wraps up our 10-year intervention, which was more or less invisible, but this time we're taking over the official exhibition spaces.
I started in the 80s in public spaces doing graffiti work. We wanted to reach a different audience, so we started working on new formats, in particular canvas, but all the while making sure to keep up the energy of the street, this space where we are confronted by reality.
The expo's title, The Bite of the Termites, is a reference to the Italian writer Italo Calvino. In 1972, he published a book called Invisible Cities, Ultimately, the subject of this expo is the city. It's by artists who can speak the language of those who've confronted the city in public spaces in a social, political, or purely artistic way.
Crack appeared on the streets of Paris in the 1990s. It particularly affected the Afro-Caribbean population. I saw that. It was a real challenge for me. That's what inspired me to do this work.
There's so many things you can do within the setting of a city. I wanted to do something in-depth, in a workshop. I kept the street energy, but these days it's all about connecting with other people who work differently. It's a way of trying to transform yourself.
I'm including potential and space within the drawings, and then I send them to him in the mail, and I knew he will destroy them, and he will cut them and transform them completely.
I might take a second, you might take 10. Now the ball's in your court and we waiting.
And we'll leave you with an unmissable artistic expedition down Paris's Street Art Avenue. If you stroll along Paris's Canal Saint-Denis in the north of the city, you can see more than 30 majestic works on show stretched out for around 5 kilometres. Thanks for watching. See you next time.